In India, meditation is designed to separate the practitioner from his surroundings. How does this differ from the biblical way to cope with our present stresses and problems?
First of all, you can't escape from your surroundings by going within, you know, and fantasizing, imagining that you have control, that you have escape. The surroundings are still there, the problems are still there. There's a difference between meditation, as we've known it in the West, which has always meant contemplation. For example, Psalm 1 says, "In his law, God's word, doth he meditate day and night." Psalm 119, he talks about meditating upon his statutes, his precepts, his laws. But in the East, meditation has the opposite meaning. It means you tune it out. You don't contemplate, but you get into an altered state of consciousness. You may focus on a flickering flame or the tip of your nose or the third eye in the middle of your forehead or whatever, but the whole idea is to tune out, to release yourself from conscious thought and from time, space, and the elements and everything around you, and to get into another state, because they believe that we create reality with our minds. And so if you can just blank it out, it doesn't work. It doesn't go away. We don't create reality with our minds. I didn't create the atom, for example. The stars, the distant galaxies. There's a whole universe within the atom that our scientists haven't even discovered. And to suggest that my mind has created my reality, I mean, pardon me, it's ludicrous.
What are some of the mental and spiritual dangers of Eastern meditation?
Well, one of the most obvious is disillusionment. I mean, when you find out you can't manipulate reality with your mind, and you've been told you could. You even have lawsuits now, some horrendous cases. For example, someone who got into LifeSpring and thought that they could manipulate reality with their mind. I remember one case of a woman who thought she could turn a red light to green, you know, with her mind. And she drove through a red light and had a wreck. Well, she sued, and I think she got $800,000 damage or something like that. But there can be a horrible disillusionment, and but the spiritual side of it is even worse. For example, W. Brew Joy, who was a medical doctor who got involved in Eastern mysticism, became a guru. He says, not one person knows what psychic power is. And of course, that's what you develop in these states of consciousness. Or all of its aspects, and no one has ever known, despite attempts over thousands of years to master this knowledge. So you're playing with fire. That's what astonishes me, that these people would do it. He says tapping these energies is fire, and the consequences can be psychosis, aggravation of neuroses, acceleration of disease processes, and suicide. So here's a man who says, hey, the water is full of piranhas, but if you dive in and swim fast enough, you might get to the other side, and if you do, you got some terrific powers waiting for you. There are horrible dangers, but the worst danger is spirit contact. And that's what this whole thing is designed for, to make contact with the spirit world, to pick up spirit guides. And I have talked with many people in yoga, have made contact with spirit entities that have led them down a horrendous path of evil and destruction. I remember a friend of mine who was one of the leading rebirthers. It's another way it comes in. They regress you back. I mean, it's in psychology and psychotherapy. And they regress you back and you relive this birthing process. And he became a Christian, and he said that after his observation of this whole New Age scene out there, he became convinced that these techniques were specifically designed to break open doors and knock down barriers that God has placed within us to prevent a demonic invasion. And of course, that's what the whole pagan world is about.
One of the reasons the Judeo-Christian Bible warns against involvement with the occult, such as tantric yoga and meditation, is because it is said to open one up to spiritual deception by demonic powers, whose very purpose is to lead people away from knowing the true God. Tragically, many Christians, after naively practicing these techniques, have felt compelled to alter or reject their beliefs. A common byproduct of meditation is the replacement of God with oneself. Maharishi Mahesh Yogi, originator of transcendental meditation, said that the purpose of his meditation is to be still and know that I, the practitioner, am God. After meditating, singer John Denver was quoted as saying, "I can do anything. One of these days I will be God." Actress and best-selling author Shirley MacLaine claims that meditation helped her to realize that she was God. Although yoga is sold to the West through various gimmicks and techniques, its basic occultism remains the same. The hope of immortality is at its heart, and the dream of realizing one's own inherent divinity is its ultimate purpose. Becoming a Christ, they call it. Despite the claims that yoga is only physical and non-religious, it is the very essence of Hinduism's spirituality.
It eventually